morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate you taking a few moments to join me here this morning. If you want to follow along, Genesis chapter number 4 is where we will be today, and continuing on in the story of Adam and Eve and their lineage. Verse 25 says, Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. For she said, God has appointed to me another offspring instead of Abel, for Cain killed him. To Seth also a son was born, and he called by his name Enoch. At that time, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. So you see here the family moves on after this devastating event. The line, God's plan, has seemingly been destroyed, has seemingly been broken. Adam and Eve, they have lost really both of their children, as Abel has been murdered and Cain has been banished. Cain has been exiled, biblical phrase, cut off, both from God and the family, and is now living, I guess you'd say, a life of sin. And so again, it appears that God's plans have been derailed by the work of Satan. But God, in His wisdom, His love, His mercy, His plan, gives Adam and Eve a new son, and they call him by the name of Seth. And he comes along, and he is now the lineage, the one that will be considered, I guess, the eventual patriarch of the family as Adam passes on. And again, now they have this son. I mean, and I find it just what a wonderful contradiction to the events of the last two sons, when it says here that after Seth was born, Seth had a son. He called him Enoch, and at that time the people began to call upon the name of the Lord. And so we see now this again, the plan of God coming together, the plan of God working out, even though Satan has tried immediately. Again, don't miss the connection here that God has told Satan that the seed of this woman is going to crush your head. And so Satan is looking, and every opportunity he gets to hinder the seed, the lineage of this woman, then he's going to do so. And he's began almost immediately here to try to eliminate Christ, is what ultimately is happening here. And so he's trying immediately to eliminate this offspring that is going to come and be his enemy. And so we see, a lot of little lessons in this passage. Again, we see the sovereignty of God, the power of God, that despite Satan' best efforts and man's weakness and sinfulness, God still is in control. God is still working out His plan. And sometimes we need to be reminded of that. Sometimes it looks like, again, that Satan is winning, that his plan is going to be victorious, that he's going to be able to stop whatever it is God's doing. We see from the earliest pages of creation to right up to this day, that's not the case. God always wins. It may not be on our time scale, may not be what we think it ought to look like, but God is victorious in what He does. And then again, we see also the importance of worship. Remember, this whole story really got going because of Cain's flawed worship, because Cain had chose to worship in a way contrary to what God had directed them. But now we see that we have a lineage, a group who comes back, and it says they began to call on the Lord. And again, just a couple little small things going on there in these two verses that remind us again of ultimately the victory of God. That God has this servant, and eventually out of this line, just to kind of tell you how as Paul Harvey used to say in his commentaries. Now the rest of the story. The rest of the story is that eventually, when man continues in their sin and veers so far off that God decides he's going to destroy mankind, he finds one man who is faithful, one man who is righteous, one man who is obedient. You know him, you know his name. His name is Noah. You know who he was, what family he was from? He was from the lineage of Seth. God ultimately has his victory. Never forget that. Today it may seem like Satan is going to win. It may seem like Cain has killed Abel all over again. But I assure you that God is still on the throne. He has a Seth, he has a Enoch, he has a Noah in mind, and he will ultimately be victorious. You have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.